Well, 8 weeks from today, the last Australian car will be built, and it will look something like this, the Holden Commodore, a vehicle we have loved for more than 30 years. But a few months later, that badge will be reborn, and it will look something like this, the new generation Commodore. And we've come to Holden's Lang Lang Proving Ground to find out what the evolution of the family car looks like.
The concept of a Holden family car has remained the same ever since the original FX rolled off the production line in 1948. A big car with a big engine created for a big country. Since the Commodore took over from the Kingswood in 1978, it has grown in size and status. It was Australia's favourite car for more than 15 years, and this final generation VF2 Commodore is undoubtedly the greatest Aussie-built car ever. But after years of trying to keep it relevant for families with a constant search for fuel economy improvements, the post-GFC hangover and the massive swing to SUVs meant it has lost favour as the first choice for suburban transport. Enthusiasts still love it, and Holden has recognised this right at the end and splashed its cash into making the last version one of the greatest muscle cars on the planet. But the more things change, the more they stay the same, and the Commodore has actually come full circle, as, just like the original, the new generation model is based on a European-sourced Opel that is slightly smaller and more fuel efficient than the car it replaces. Now, there is no point hiding the truth though, as it is a wildly different beast with fundamental differences. It will be offered in either front wheel or all-wheel drive with 4 and 6 cylinder engines, and in a hatch and wagon body styles only, but it does still adhere to the family car formula that Holden has traded on for decades. And it has been tweaked and tailored to suit our local tastes and conditions, which is what we're at Lang Lang to experience, the work that Holden's engineering team has done to refine its on-road dynamics. These pre-production validation models are close to representative of what will be available in showrooms from early next year, and having driven the Opel tuned version as a reference, which was soft and wallowy over the bumps and leans heavily into the corners, the Holden version was just as compliant but has better control and sits flatter. Under the bonnet, the base level car is powered by a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder that produces 191 kilowatts and 350 newton metres, and drives the front wheels through a 9-speed automatic transmission. It's a great powertrain combination, as the engine has plenty of pulling power and yet is smooth, refined and remarkably quiet under heavy acceleration, while the silky transmission helps it keep spinning in the sweet spot at all times. For those skeptics that think the Commodore will no longer appeal to enthusiasts, the V6 all-wheel drive versions are surprisingly engaging and agile, with plenty of grip, great Brembo brakes and precise steering. Okay, so it's not a tyre-frying muscle car anymore, but for those that enjoy a backroad blast, the new Commodore is probably quicker in the bends. It's a fun car to punt hard, in a very different way. As for the rest of the car, we'll reserve final judgment on its quality and equipment levels until we drive the final showroom machines and know more about its specifications. But what we can say is there is almost as much room inside the cabin than today's Commodore. Ultimately, it isn't as lovable as the car it replaces, and will have a tough time convincing Aussie families out of SUVs, but it can genuinely stand up to rivals like the Mazda 6 and Subaru Liberty.
Okay, so there is no point denying it. This new generation Commodore is a vastly different beast from the ones that we've loved for decades. And sure, there is no muscle car anymore, but I'd have to say that, truth be told, this is how the modern family car has evolved. And the local work that Holden has done has made sure it is still relevant to families in Australia today.